Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. This is the Hillsborough County Commission on Human Trafficking on Thursday, October 28th at 1 p.m. It's a hybrid meeting, so we have many of our board members that are actually attending virtually and several that are here in person here at the County Center. And I'd like to open the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. Stand if you can, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. We have had a lot of wonderful things happen in the last, since our last meeting. And the first thing I'd like to do is call the meeting to order. We'll do a roll call. And then I would love for our new lead in terms of administrative support for this effort to introduce herself and give us a little bit about your background. And with that, Beth?
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll start with the determination of quorum. So I will do the roll call. The first is Chair Overman.
We can't hear you
Can't
very
hear me.
well,
Can
so
you-
you have to get close. Yeah, you just have
Can
to
you
get close.
hear me now? Sorry
Okay.
about that. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here. We'll start with the determination of quorum. So we'll go through the list. First is Chair Overman is present.
Here, sorry.
That's okay. Deputy Chief Harris is present.
Here.
Okay. From the State's Attorney's Office, Andrew Warren. Okay. Ms. Kempke from the Crisis Center.
Here.
Fantastic, thank you. Chief Burkhoff from TPD.
Here.
Great, thank you. Ms. Perez from the School Board.
I'm not seeing her logged in yet.
Okay. Representative from Marriott Hotels.
I don't see Tina Smith either.
Thank you. Okay, Tina Smith. Dottie Grover Skipper from Heart Dance Ministries. Santiago Corrado from Visit Tampa Bay.
I believe he's excused. He's traveling this week.
I believe so. Okay. Jennifer Gleister. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Oh, no problem. Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenna Taylor.
Here.
Thank you. Detective Sergeant Kevin Durkin.
Here.
Mr. Charles Klug. Sorry.
Klug, here.
Thank you. Miss Iris Valdez, Corey Dunaway.
Here.
Thank you. Chief Judge Ron Figueroa.
Here.
Thank you. Miss Public Defender Julianne Holt.
Here.
Thank you. Miss Connie Rose.
Here.
Thank you. Captain Robert Staley. Okay. Miss Elizabeth Gutierrez. Okay. And Corporal Gerald Baker. Okay. Thank you. And we've recorded, we do not have an in-person quorum today. So the commissioner also wanted me to introduce myself. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I'm sorry. My name's Elizabeth Cardenas. I've been with the county about 9.5 years. I'm currently the Division Director of Compliance Services under Government Relations and Strategic Services. That is a lot of words to say. Generally what I do is HIPAA compliance, ADA compliance, equal opportunity compliance, and a variety of special projects for the county. I came to the county out of law school and got my master's in public administration along the way as well. And another function I do for the county is boards and councils management. So we also staff the Commission on the Status of Women, the CAC, last year the Charter Review Board. And I'd also like to introduce Leslie Bennett. She's my administrative specialist, and she is going to be taking the minutes and running all the administrative work, and she is a huge help. So thank you for allowing us to introduce ourselves.
Thank you. And of course, we have Randall with us. Randall, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, hello. My name is Randall Sinise. You guys have been watching me virtually for the last few months. I've been a support staff for the working groups, and for the past 9 months, I've been working as support staff for the Commission on Human Trafficking. I started working for Hillsborough County in January of 2021. I graduated from the University of South Florida with my master's in global sustainability with an emphasis in business. And I have been really, really dedicated to this work, and I love seeing all the work that we're doing currently in Hillsborough County. So let's keep up the good work.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. We have very committed teams, and I believe Dr. Curry has also joined us as a advisory role. And as I said, when she left the county, I know where she lives. So it gives us an opportunity to still have her valuable input in the work that we do here on the Commission for Human Trafficking. So thank you everyone for being here and for the introductions. I really appreciate it. As far as the chair's report, I'm going to basically make sure that we address our presentations today, because the majority of the work that we've been working on for the last several months all those fingers are starting to come together. All those pieces are coming together very, very nicely. And rather than summarize all those things, I think our agenda will actually serve us well by going through the various different steps that we have for today. The first item on the agenda are our guest speakers. And the first speaker is Dr. Shelly Wagers. I got a chance to actually listen to several meetings and on the project that they're working on, and I'm very excited to share with the board members the work that the USF TIP Lab is doing through the BRIGHT project. Dr. Wagers is an internationally recognized as a leading expert in the field of human trafficking. The USF TIP Lab is focused on eradicating human trafficking through knowledge building, spreading knowledge, and resourcing. The USF TIP Lab is home to the Bridging Resources and Information Gaps in Human Trafficking, or BRIGHT project, which is the development of a human trafficking resources and data repository hub for the state of Florida. Dr. Shelly Wagers is here today to present to the Commission on Human Trafficking the TIP Lab and the BRIGHT project. Dr. Wagers, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I sent Elizabeth an email asking her to go ahead and do the PowerPoint for me. I went to try to do it in WebEx, and I haven't used WebEx in forever. And of course, there's always a technology glitch, and it won't let me share my screen. I've met many of you, and I'm going to make one small correction to that wonderful introduction, Commissioner Overman, which is it is Dr. Reed who's an international expert in human trafficking. I work with her in human trafficking, and I bring some other expertise to the table, and I'm recognized as a interpersonal violence or intimate partner violence national expert. But Dr. Reed is always excellent in giving me my credit where it's due, and I want to make sure I give hers where it's due as well. So,
Well, thank you for giving the correction, but we're good.
yeah. So I don't want to make any claims that are not mine. All right.
So it does look like our presentation's coming up for all of those that are online,
Yes.
and we have them on the screen here as well, so you may go ahead and proceed.
Thank you. So I met Dr. Reed approximately 20 years ago. We love to tell this story when she was the rape crisis counselor in Pinellas County and I was a law enforcement officer. And our paths have crossed numerous times since then through graduate school and other projects, and now both of us working at the St. Pete campus. We often talked about and shared with each other from our practitioner perspectives and points of view definitive needs within addressing certain crimes or problems, specifically in the 90s, rape crisis, domestic violence, and then as it evolved in the 2000s, the recognition into human trafficking. And that is when she started her research. And I just want to give some credit to Florida to start in that we are actual leaders, not just in numbers of incidents of human trafficking, but in being a bit progressive in how we're addressing human trafficking And some of that has come about because of the work that Dr. Reed has done. So if you could go to the next slide, please, Elizabeth. Thank you. As we all know, we currently have an issue related to human trafficking that falls in our research area well, which is the issue of lack of good data and good research. Most of the time we're using Polaris hotline data, and that Polaris hotline data doesn't necessarily provide, especially for a group like yourself, specific incidence rates and needs within your community. Most of the time when I talk to practitioners, they're referencing that as kind of zip code level data in dealing with your issues. Also, we have big gaps in our knowledge as to how much human trafficking is going on, who's most vulnerable to human trafficking, methods that traffickers might be using or how they change at different times. Is this concentrated in different communities? I could go on in this. So Dr. Reed and myself, we were talking as USF was consolidating and recognizing this is an inherent issue that is happening. And we looked across the 3 campuses and saw there were multiple faculty members working in human trafficking or the anti-trafficking movement in a variety of ways. And we thought, let's bring these together under one roof to create a synergy. And we did. Next slide. And that's what created the TIP Lab, or Trafficking in Persons Risk to Resilience Lab. So I want to try to break out the 2 main points that Commissioner Overman mentioned related to the TIP Lab, or 2 largest projects in this presentation, how they came to be, why we're doing them, the work we've done so far, how they might be independent yet can come together. So the first goal within the TIP Lab is knowledge building. So if you want to just move, you'll see an icon comes up on knowledge building. And knowledge building is this idea of conducting innovative and interdisciplinary research to address our different knowledge gaps that currently exist in human trafficking. I sent ahead of time several flyers for you all that are different projects that are happening in the lab. I'm only going to highlight 2 of them today, but it gives you an idea of, as we created synergy, bringing faculty members together, working on different projects so they can work cohesively versus us duplicating work, right? The next is knowledge sharing. And knowledge sharing is about creating effective solutions that's based on empirical research and using an interdisciplinary approach that merges both criminological, victim-centered, social welfare, public health, and social justice perspectives. So we don't want to just publish our research in scholarly journals. As former practitioners, Dr. Reed and myself, we want to make sure what we do is available to the community, but also is the type of research and information that you need in the community to advance your human trafficking efforts. So that brings us to resourcing. Resourcing is the other aspect of the TIP Lab, which is kind of resourcing our community practitioners.
Yep.
We don't want to be hidden away in the ivory tower. We want to come up with research questions, problems, things we look at that are engaged with all of you, individuals like you who are in the front lines working in the community, bringing your practitioner experience to bear with our researcher knowledge in a way that can create synergy within our community and address the human trafficking and the anti-trafficking movement. So next slide. Dr. Reed put me in charge of what was our initial needs assessment. I met many of you actually through this process, and I believe Dr. Curry set up for me to speak in focus group format to several of the groups. And what we were doing there is interviewing and speaking with as many human trafficking practitioners we could at all different levels across all these different key stakeholder groups, to include speaking with survivors or victim survivors as well, to bring their voice to bear. And our goal here was to identify what is it you all say is most needed. And within that, Is there an overlap that every group is saying this particular thing is needed? And within that, what falls within our expertise as researchers we could offer? Next slide. So what we found through that needs assessment, which is probably over 100 interviews now, but is around 75 definitively analyzed in an empirical manner, was two key things everybody really shouted they needed. One, good and accurate data. This is where I got zip code level data. You know, I need to know what's happening in my community. And what was interesting with this is even though everybody needs it, I recognize from prior collaborative work, the lens at which the court needs that or looks at it versus law enforcement versus victim advocates versus a city level manager is a little different. The types of data they may need overlaps in some ways, but they have different roles and goals they're working to achieve within their specific job. So we need the data for our community, but we also need the data that holds meaning for our particular function in the anti-trafficking movement. And then the next was access to services. And access to services was this, we need real time. So we need to be able to go into something, and if I need a bed for a particular survivor that was just recovered with particular characteristics, quickly see, is there one available? If so, where, and will they take this person? Or if they need food. So name the service, and it was that idea of doing that much more effectively and efficiently. Next slide, please. So it is from this we have developed two key projects. One project is the Unified Database, and I'll talk about that brief in a moment. But the other project is Bright. And I know Kathleen Kinke is here, and we were emailing a little beforehand how it was interesting we overlap together because we are collaborating together on this particular project. We've been looking at multiple places to develop this project, and currently there's only one we have found a prior model, and that is in Texas, and we're working with those individuals. But what Bright really is and this is key, vetted network. Vetted network meaning following a system to where the direct service providers feel like the victims would be safe if they enter into this network and through a software platform that traffickers aren't going to be able to get in there, find their information, locate them, and or recruit out of anybody who is in this network. So it's a vetted network of care, but vetted very specifically with the unique nuances to human trafficking and vulnerabilities, which is different from what we may encounter with someone with domestic violence or someone who's looking for mental health but isn't necessarily a victim of crime or human trafficking. So creating a service referral and connection in real time. We like to describe it as something like when you're going to go look for a place to eat and you use a service like an open table, and it can tell you in real time if I want, hey, I want Indian food, here it is, and I can get this reservation at this time and you know it's available. This type of technology and platforms exist. The issue or difficulty or challenge is how you do that in a vetted way with the direct service providers to protect the victim. Also, you want it free, of course. The direct service providers don't want to have a cost to be in the system or use the system because obviously dollars are always short in this area. And you also want to be able to identify the resource or service gaps. And then you want to be able to have reports. This is what I learned from all of the interviews I did, and this is what we're creating in Bright. It's a software platform. You can go and engage with a vetted tiered system based on what level of access you need to have based on your role within the anti-trafficking movement and moving through a vetted process. As you utilize the system, it's going to capture, collect the different data. Who's looking for what resources, when and where, and who's responding to those inquiries with space. So where are the gaps related to sex trafficking and labor trafficking needs? Which victims are we serving well, and which areas and which ones are we missing? And then the ability within the TIP lab to generate from all of that the data reports that individuals would need for their grant funders about how they're delivering their individual service but also larger reports for a city or a county on what is really going on in their city or county area to generate more evidence-based policy and to know better where and how to funnel the human trafficking funds for where the real needs are and to which organizations who are really engaged in the work. Next slide, please. So that is Bright in a nutshell. A key part of Bright is our collaboration. We are doing strategic planning meetings already. One of our key collaborators is actually 211 and Kathleen Kimke. We've been in discussions with her, Tomas Lars with United Abolitionists, and we have been working with others within your commission as well, possibly trying to find and identify a pilot location and where and how we vet and build the system. Our other collaborators to get this proof of concept or learn how to put the vetting together are victim survivors, as well as direct service providers or NGOs that are providing the housing or mental health services. Next slide. So this slide kind of tells you now an envision of these different hats within the TIP lab of where we're trying to address. So if you look where it says hidden data and Bright Project, and then the other side, it says Florida crime court data, Florida government data, state funded data. Those three are what we call government data. And as a criminologist, we look at the hidden dark figure of crime, meaning who are all the people we're never encountering within the system that would be collected by these forms of data. We're hoping something like the Bright Project will give us a glimpse into some of that. So the data we are currently collecting in law enforcement or through the Department of Health may or may not be reflective of all victims or victim needs or showing where the gaps in services are. So our goal, the dark blue, the 3, is our unified database, which Dr. Reed is heading up, which is becoming the data depository or data repository of all that government data into one place so it can be fused together to give us a more comprehensive understanding. Meanwhile, I'm heading up Bright and trying to develop the community resources, which gives us a different form of information. And our lofty long-term goal with the right type of data architect individual, these can eventually come together and talk in a way we can see which victims are overlapping across the government agencies and direct services, which ones aren't, and give us a comprehensive picture of human trafficking, not just in Florida, but we'll be collecting this at the community level, so that zip code level data that has real meaning for direct practitioners within a city or a county. Next slide, please. So this just represents the idea of the unified database. These are examples of where and how this has been done in other ways with other forms of crime. We currently do it at USF as the Baker Act Reporting Center, the idea of multiple forms of large government data coming into one place, being cleaned and merged. Next slide, please. This is a list, and you should see it reflected within your handouts that I provided ahead of time of the other projects that are kind of ongoing in the lab in addition to these 2 larger projects. And we're always looking for new and faculty affiliates from other campuses as well as other universities in and out of Florida. And this is always growing. Next slide, please. So I was given 10 minutes. I think I stayed within my 10 minutes or pretty quick to give you all a very rough but cursory overview of everything that we are currently doing in the lab, but specific to the unified database and specific to Bright. And I'll reiterate that we have been already meeting with several people. There's a great quote from one of our interviews that we did, and I don't know if she'll remember saying it. Dr. Reed loves this quote, but Kathleen, I actually think it was you who said it when we met with your group with the commission, which was looking at what Bright could do or what we're trying to do would take us from this era of like being in the Flintstones to becoming like the Jetsons. And it's a great quote, and I think, Kathleen, it was your quote. So
that sounds like something I would say.
Yeah, but I'm open for questions, and Commissioner Overman, if I missed something you wanted me to highlight from the things that you've seen before, feel free to to ask, and I'll go into more detail on those, but I just wanted to try to touch on everything for this group. I know I've met with some of you at different times, so I wasn't sure of you. I figured everybody had a different knowledge place of what we're at and what we're doing and what's going on, and this would give us a place to start together of a set of knowledge.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wagers. You have, you've actually done an excellent job of helping, I think, our board understand the goal of the overall project and the work and the research that you have. But it looks like you're building the web that we were looking to gather to assist in all of our partners in this effort to do the best that they can. And I'm sure Ms. Kemke is probably jumping up and down and getting very excited right now because it really will help her. I was speaking with Captain Harris, and we had a little bit of a conversation earlier as would have been nice to have all of this at our fingertips like today. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for good work to be done, and the key will be is determining how to best move forward with implementing something like this, and making sure that you have the resources and we have the resources and the Crisis Center has the resources to be able to deliver the goals that are established with this type of project. I see this as a good collaboration. For those of you that are online, if you have a question, please use the raise hand tool if you can, so that I can make sure I don't miss your questions or comments. But I'll actually open it up to the virtual floor to see if there's anyone that, in case you can't find their hand raised, you can jump up and down and wave if you'd like. But I'm not seeing any at the moment. Captain Harris, did you have a comment or a question that you'd like to ask?
No, ma'am.
Okay, great. Excellent. Well, like I said, thank you very, very much for that presentation. I anticipate us doing some great work together. I also recognize that it's going to take a great deal of partnership with some of our providers, including our partner in the Crisis Center. And that is why the next item on the agenda is so timely. It does give us the opportunity to not only see the work that USF is doing in partnership with our efforts, but then also to point out that the court advocate, that position that is in the process of being hired, that the county funded, that's under Judge Figueroa's guidance, and is going to also be an important person in this wheel, because that individual is going to have access to all of those databases that you described in the dark blue circles, because they'll be able to pull information that are in the court system when it comes to DCF as well as other areas of the legal system, in order to be able to properly identify someone who may be traveling through our legal system that actually is a human trafficking victim and may or may not have been identified on the steps prior to getting in front of a judge. So I think at the end of the day, we're going to be in really good shape. But it also will give law enforcement the tools they need when they've actually made an arrest, and we have the need for translators, for example, or we have the need for our victim advocates or the questionnaires to be fine-tuned to be able to best identify when there's a person that actually has been caught up in life and actually is being trafficked and may not really fully identify themselves as such. So that's really helpful. Thank you very, very much, and I look forward to more reports from you going forward. Our next presentation, not seeing any, oh wait, I do see a question from Chief Judge Figueroa. Judge, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to follow up. You know, you're mentioning that position, which we're so appreciative of the Board of County Commissioners and for you spearheading the way to get the funding for that position. We are having final interviews for that position on Monday. I think we've got it down to 2 or 3 candidates, and the final interviews are going to be on Monday. So I just wanted to update everybody on that. Thank you.
That is good news. Very good news. It's considering we actually just posted the position on October 1st. We're rocking it, so that's awesome. Judge, if you'll bring your hand down, I won't miss it when you raise it again the next time. Does anyone else have a question for Dr. Wagers? Because I believe she has another appointment and may not be available for questions later. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the next item. As I mentioned, the Crisis Center and our board member, Kathleen Kempke, has really given us an opportunity to create a resource for those that are in need. And so today we have a presentation called 211 at Your Fingertips. And that presentation will be offered by, I hope I get this right, is it Celi, Vandijk? Is that right? Celi Vandijk and Randall Hoffman. Celi Vandijk is the manager of care coordination, and Randall Hoffman works with the 211 call center at the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay. The Crisis Center of Tampa Bay is a private nonprofit organization in Hillsborough County that provides services and support for a variety of crisis situations, including sexual assault, sexual abuse, domestic violence, financial distress, substance abuse, medical emergency, or suicidal thoughts. In fiscal 21, the Hillsborough County Human Trafficking budget provided approximately $83,000 in funding for the Human Trafficking Care Coordinator position and gateway services, including the 211 call center and the resource guide. They are here today to share information on their resource guide, the 211atyourfingertips.org. And this website provides a list of resources available, including a guided search box dedicated to human trafficking with resources on hotlines, shelters, counseling, legal assistance, and more. And they'll be sharing their screen on the website as part of their presentation. Ms. Vandijk and Mr. Hoffman, are you available?
Yes, Commissioner, thank you so much for the introduction.
You're welcome. Go right ahead.
Thank you for having us today. As the Commissioner shared, my name is Shelly Vandijk. I am the Manager of Care Coordination here. The Human Trafficking Care Coordinator typically works under my supervision, and I'll let Randall introduce himself and say a little bit more about his role here at the Crisis Center.
Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, I guess. My name is Randall Hoffman. I'm a resource coordinator here at the Crisis Center. One of my main functions is I am part of what is our DART team, which is our data analysis and resource team. I focus a lot on the resources. One of my primary goals in relation to this is helping get the human trafficking resources vetted into our system, make sure they're updating so that they are on 211 at your fingertips, so they can be accessed by anybody who needs them, be it the public, law enforcement, any service provider, or just somebody who like, hey, I think this person may be in trouble. Where can I go? And they can be directed to 211 at your fingertips to at least get some initial contacts for getting people help.
So we have worked pretty closely together over the past few months. Myself or the Human Trafficking Care Coordinator has been boots on the ground, identifying the resources that we currently have that could help and serve human trafficking survivors, identifying the service gaps that exist currently, approaching those resources and trying to talk with them about being part of this 211atyourfingertips.org electronic resource guide, and then trying to organize things in a way that we're going to make things easily accessible for the populations that Randall just highlighted. So without further ado, I'm going to ask you all to cross your fingers and send positive thoughts as I attempt to share my screen and share our 211atyourfingertips.org database. And just do a really quick walkthrough on what you can expect when you go and visit.
Yes, it's coming up, so you're good.
Apps, great, sounds good. Okay, so this is accessible to everyone. So basically, all we would ask you to do is just go to 211atyourfingertips.org, and you will be able to come up with this exact same screen. You or anybody that you know that might need access to resources for human trafficking survivors, or just resources in general. So as you can see, we've got 211atyourfingertips.org separated out into, I call them different tiles. So you can see the different taxonomies that have been created here. And the way that we decided that would be the most easiest and accessible for people to access, easily and quickly access resources for human trafficking survivors was to create human trafficking a separate tile. So I'm going to click on that. And as I clicked on that, you can see that different subheadings have popped up: hotlines and reporting, shelters, counseling, group support, prevention, safety planning, legal assistance, visas, crisis hotlines, and relocation services. As you all know, this is a work in progress. So, hopefully after a few years, maybe we'll have more headings and subheadings down here. But for now, this is what we've got. So I'm going to just walk you through. Let's go into legal assistance here. So it dropped it down into another subheading here. And so I'm just going to click on that. And then what you'll see are all the resources that are available statewide or nationwide if they are nationally serving, if they are resources that serve the nation. So that can be a little overwhelming. So then what you would do, or the person that is looking for resources, would narrow that search down by the zip code or the area, the physical location of where you're hoping to link the survivor to services in. So my favorite thing to do is just to use 33613. And so then you can see that has changed the resources and sort of drilled down on the resources that are available in this area. So the other thing that I want to point out is that the resources and the way we list them is that these are resources that either provide that direct assistance. For example, they would actually provide legal assistance to survivors, or they can link survivors to that resource. For example, the Human Trafficking Care Coordination Program is listed here under legal assistance. We do not employ attorneys or give legal advice, but we can make sure that survivors are linked to that resource. So just sort of going down here, Project Restoration, Gulf Coast Legal obviously is a resource that's going to provide direct legal services. And then additionally, some other resources down here that provide that direct service, Justice Restoration Center. So I also wanted to draw your attention to this Bridging Freedom listing. As you'll see right here, it says requires a referral for services. And so what that statement right there is primarily for our in-house gateway call center. This is the same resource guide that they see when they are taking calls and fielding calls that are coming in. And that sentence is for them, because when a person calls in, what our intervention specialists do is provide phone numbers and linkages to the caller. And so we want our intervention specialists to know that not to give this number out directly to a caller, because that wouldn't be an effortless experience. Because what would happen is that caller would call Bridging Freedom, and Bridging Freedom would let them know that, hey, you have to be referred by an entity, an organization, or a resource like our Trafficking Prevention Care Coordinator or law enforcement. So we wanted to make sure that was in there for our intervention specialists. But for law enforcement or any people that are providing direct services to trafficking survivors, that doesn't necessarily apply to them. So we've got a few bugs to work out with the way that, that this has a dual role, and that both our intervention specialists in-house here at 211 and you all in general public and population are using this. So what we are asking you all to do for the future is, if you know of any other resource, if you know of resources that need to be in here, if as you go through, you identify other, if you know of services that are out there that we need to approach and try to get vetted into this 211atyourfingertips.org electronic resource, please have them reach out to us. Randall and I can put our contact information in the chat so that you can have people get in touch with us directly. And the other thing I want to point out is that just because a service isn't necessarily listed under the human trafficking tile doesn't mean that you can't provide that information or look for that information in some of the other tiles. For example, if you are working with a trafficking survivor that needs dental care, you can absolutely drill down on some of these other tiles up here and find vetted resources that you can pass along to survivors as well. Again, just doing the same thing, entering the zip code so that you can limit the resources that show up. But then you have a nice list of resources that that you could provide to the survivor. So we wanted to take some time, take some questions, see if there was anything specific you all wanted me to show you. And let's see if I can figure out how to stop sharing. And to see if there was anything that Randall or Kathleen wanted to add.
Well, I always have comments, you know that. That's just who I am.
Ms. Kemke, you're recognized.
I really am excited about how this is kind of coming together with Bridge.
Could you come a little closer to the mic?
This was an amazing work that Chantel, who's no longer with us at the Crisis Center, has moved on, but who got the resources together. And now the next step, or the continuing step, will be to continue to have those relationships and build relationships with the providers, but also looking at what is needed, what are we missing, what don't we have? We may have dentists in there, but are they trained on human trafficking and on working with people that have been trafficked? So then connecting them to Connie Rose, and Connie Rose can do some additional training for them and their staff. So it's really been a labor of love to see this all come to fruition with not only the services, but where the next steps will go.
Specific questions you guys?
That's great. That's
Any
terrific.
questions on how to use that? Because it has multiple uses. It can be used by our community collaborators. It can be used by someone who is being trafficked and may not have a whole lot of time and just wants some services. And of course, it's used internally as well. So questions on that, how it can be used. Law enforcement too, another place that it can be used for resources.
I'm not seeing any hands raised,
Okay.
but I'm looking. I had a couple of questions. One of the things that we've discussed in the past, either through services and resources, primarily for those that are working on, how do we make sure we have the right services for victims, especially those that need security, for example. So I noticed you had housing or shelter listed. So you made mention that in the description it'll require referral, and there wasn't a phone number, but what I could see, what Celi was showing us, that there was a phone number there. So I just was curious if access is, if the way you see the site is based on how you've logged in to see this information, or is it just available to the general public?
Specifically about the referral, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, right. Is this is the website
Right,
that we just
right,
looked at open
yeah.
to
And
generally
Randall,
open to the public?
Randall and I talked about that yesterday. Randall, we're going to change the wording on that, so it'll say something like this needs a referral and how to get that, either from an agency, because that's what was confusing to me, right, Randy?
Yeah, it's, like we said, it is a work in progress. We're still trying to smooth out some of the rough points. Yeah, we're gonna change that. Basically on those, it's gonna read something along the lines of, hey, this requires a referral from a human trafficking service provider. Please contact 211 for that referral if that's what they're looking for, because we can give it, because in our processes, somebody calls up and says, hey, I'm trying to get out of this lifestyle, or I'm escaping from this, or this has happened to me, no matter where they're at that point. Our procedure is to automatically get them connected to an advocate or the care coordinator so that they can get that as fast as possible. It's just a matter of, honestly, me getting in there and getting it changed. I sadly am only one person, and I am limited on how much I can do in one day. I wish I could do more sometimes. But those things will be changed and ironed out, especially as we find them or see them or brought to our attention, because again, there's a lot of resources in there in our whole database. So I think last count, we're at almost 4,000 active services in our database. So there's a lot of information in there. So anything that anybody sees or gets back to us, even if it's through our 211 line, we get in there and we try to fix it, make it a little easier for a person to understand the services that the resources is offering.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And that's where I think the research efforts that we're possibly have are available to us through the TIP lab and the partnership we have with the Crisis Center, and then with our court advocate position, we'll start creating the links that are necessary with the various different levels of security that's necessary in order to be able to get resources deployed towards those that are involved in human trafficking. I'm not seeing any other hands raised. Are there any questions by any other board members? Okay, not seeing any. I will move on to our next presentation. Thank you very much for presenting and providing us with an update on how the Crisis Center is stepped up to do some of the work that we've asked you to do. We recognize going through providing all of that provider information was not a small task, and I'm sure we'll all be working together to be able to get you even more information. I think at some point to the point that we heard from Dr. Wagers, and I know you as the Crisis Center and many of our members have addressed, is making sure that safety net has real strength to it. So at some point in time, we'll probably need to go through a process of vetting or a vetting process on a regular basis in order to assure that if someone, whether they go directly to the website or we have a law enforcement looking for shelter or a translator, or we have the court advocate looking for legal support for a victim, that the services within that all have the ability real time to offer those services available to them, because we know how oftentimes many of these demands are ebb and flow, and sometimes they happen very, very quickly, and we have a lot more cases, and then other times maybe not so much. So I think that as this evolves and improves over time, I think we can actually serve our community quite well. And thank you very much for the work that you're doing. Not seeing any other hands, I'll move on to the next item. This afternoon is item C, is the annual Sunshine Law Review. All of our members on the board are subject to Sunshine Law, as we are actually a public board. And with us today, we have DeBora Cromartie-Mincey. She is the Chief Assistant County Attorney over Employment and Regulatory Services Division of Hillsborough County. She serves our commission quite well and keeps us in the law and out of trouble, and as our advisor to the efforts in human trafficking. She's here to present to us the provisions of Sunshine Law and government committee work, so that we make sure that we're operating in a way that we're in compliance with the Sunshine Law. Deborah, are you available?
I am. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, awesome. Well, good afternoon to you, Chair, and the Commission and staff. Thanks for the opportunity to present today. I'll keep this review short because really this should be a refresher for, if not all of you, most of you. I can tell you straight off that this is probably not as exciting as the prior two presentations, the subject matter at least, but it's important nevertheless. We'll go right into it. Just what is the Sunshine Law? All meetings of any board at which official acts are to be taken are public meetings. The board or commission must provide reasonable notice of all such meetings. Now, what does that really mean? Where does that come from? What is its authority? Of course, the Florida Constitution. You can turn to the next slide, I'm sorry. Article 1, Section 24, and Chapter 286 of the Florida Statutes. You can turn to the next slide. Just when does the Sunshine Law begin to apply? Upon your appointment. Next slide. Who's included and who is actually subject to the Sunshine Law? All of your public collegial bodies, and that's per the Florida Constitution. Those would be your state colleges and universities. All elected or appointed boards or commissions, members of those, like this commission and the members that serve this commission. Public officers or staff acting with delegated authority, and federal agencies, however, are not subject to the Sunshine Law. Next slide, please. Just what is the scope of the Sunshine Law? There are basic three criteria. 1, meetings must be open to the public. 2, reasonable notice must be given. Our meetings are advertised, and I believe they should be advertised in a reasonable amount of time prior to every meeting, and minutes must be taken. They do not have to be verbatim, but they should reflect the major components of every meeting we have. Next slide, please. Just what is a meeting subject to the Sunshine Law? It's any gathering of 2 or more members of the same board or commission to discuss some matter on which foreseeable action will be taken by that public board or commission. There's no requirement for a quorum, hence 2 or more members. Certainly not a quorum for this commission, but 2 or more members of this board could very well be holding and hosting a meeting and be in violation of the Sunshine Law. Any gathering that could be formal, just as this meeting is today, or casual, which would include 2 or more members walking to their car after this meeting. It's applicable to discussions, deliberations, and formal action that's taken by a public board. Next slide, please. When are boards subject to the Sunshine Law? Basically, any group that helps narrow the issue of a sunshine required board or commission, that would be your subcommittee-like work. And of course, during regular formal meetings like this meeting today, you are certainly subject to the Sunshine Law. Even if recommendations from this board are not binding, and many of them are not, this board is still subject to the Sunshine Law. Private entities have an occasion of being subject as well, if they are, especially when they're delegated functions by this public agency to do on their behalf. And also staff standing in the shoes of public agencies. What's important to note is that it's the nature of the act being performed, not the makeup of the committee or the board. Next slide, please. When are boards not subject to the Sunshine Law? When they're strictly established for fact-finding purposes only, and when their function is merely informational. You're going out, you're bringing back all of the facts to your primary or mother board, if you will, and that mother or primary board is helping to narrow those facts based on everything that this particular body presented. That's a fact-finding scenario. Otherwise, boards are subject to the Sunshine Law. Next slide, please. Surprisingly, what else is subject to the Sunshine Law? Phone calls. two or more members of the same board making phone calls are subject to the Sunshine Law. Letters that go back and forth between members of the same board. Here on this slide, we have prior to meetings, but it's not limited to just that. It could be after meetings. It could be during a meeting. It's really any time that two or more members are communicating on issues that may foreseeably come back to the board for discussion. It also pertains to discussions of a single member that's delegated board authority, and discussions between board members and non-board members when that non-board member is being used as a liaison. You've got a staff member who's not a board member, and that staff member is being used by two board members or perhaps just one to go and speak with another board member about matters that may foreseeably come before the board, the full body, for discussion. That particular instance is also subject to the Sunshine Law. Next slide, please. Meetings that are not exempt, but you would probably think that they should be or would be. Investigations are not exempt. Meetings to discipline staff are subject to the Sunshine Law. Meetings to handle personnel issues, real estate negotiations, and your quasi-judicial hearings, like your code enforcement hearings or your county land use hearings. These are all subject to the Sunshine Law. Next slide, please. What about members of different boards? Let's say you've got a member of a city council and the city commission. They do not have any sunshine obligation for discussions between themselves. Why? Because they are not members of the same board. But what if that fact scenario changed and you've got both being members of another group? Then they will have a sunshine obligation for those sorts of issues. So even if you've got two separate members, you've got a city council member and a county commissioner, they are not obviously members of the same body, but they are also members of another group, i.e., let's say the Regional Planning Council. They will have sunshine law obligations with respect to discussions about matters that will come before the Regional Planning Council. Next slide, please. What about your ex officio members? These are members that don't necessarily have voting power, and they're appointed, or sometimes they sit with primary board members by virtue of their expertise. They are subject to the same requirements as primary members or voting members. Next slide, please. What about your social events? We've got holidays coming up. You all may want to partake in dinner parties. Certainly you can do that. You just cannot talk about business that will particularly come back to this board for discussion. Next slide, please. We do have boards that have, on occasion, not recently, of course, but gone on bus trips or tours of various places. These boards may wish to review the property, see sites, etc. This is not a problem if there's no discussion of issues coming before the board. Next slide, please. We talked about notice being one of the requirements for the Sunshine Law body. Reasonable notice is required. Just what is reasonable? According to case law, at least 24-hour notice is needed for special or emergency meetings. For regular meetings, we generally like giving at least 7 to 10 days prior to a meeting. Just keep in mind that there may be other statutory requirements or ordinance requirements for notices, but certainly I work well with staff on making sure that all those notice requirements are met. All right, next slide, please. Does the Sunshine Law require that an agenda be written? The answer to that is no. The board is not prohibited from adding topics to an agenda, taking formal action on them, but it is recommended that matters be postponed if formal actions are going to be taken on something that's controversial, but may not have been publicized. And that's only to give the public the opportunity to know what controversial matters are going to be discussed and the opportunity to either be heard on the matter or be part of not just the discussion, but hearing the deliberations on the matter. They're not required to consider only items on a published agenda, so you can certainly go off agenda, and it's up to the body, particularly the chair, to decide the flow of an agenda, and it's also okay for the board to establish procedures. Next slide, please. One of the main requirements for Sunshine Law bodies is that their meetings be open to the public. Bodies are subject to the Sunshine Law. They're prohibited from holding meetings at any facility, excuse me, or location, which discriminates on the basis of sex, race, age, creed, color, origin, or economic status, or which operates in such a manner as to unreasonably restrict public access to such a facility. Things that come in mind, or places that come in mind, would be your country clubs or restaurants, for instance. It's really easy to say, oh, let's go have a meeting at Applebee's. Well, that's fine for probably a party of maybe 10, perhaps 20. But when you've got members of the public wanting to come and be a part of that meeting, but they must make a purchase first. You've got to buy their famous wings in order to sit there and be a part of the meeting. That's not something that's workable and appropriate. And it could potentially be a violation of the Sunshine Law. Certainly, one cannot vote by secret ballot. If a member is participating by phone, the member must be able to be heard, and minutes of the meeting are required. Okay, and last slide. Of course, I'm sitting here talking about all of this, and it's because of this very slide here. There are penalties. If there is a violation, one could be found guilty of a non-criminal infraction, and also guilty of a misdemeanor of the second degree. So this is very serious. It's very important. Certainly was not exciting as my prior two presenters, but I wanted to make certain that you all are familiar with this and know that if there are any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. I am certainly available, and I do work very closely with staff and the liaisons that serve your commission. Thank you for this opportunity and for your time. Good to see everyone. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, DeBora. That was excellent, excellent. A great way to make sure we have a review of how we operate. Now, I know all of us are very passionate about human trafficking in terms of this battle and this effort that we're into. So recognizing the informational meeting gathering as well as the public meeting and bringing items that are discussed to the board is critically important so that we can move the agenda forward. And that's why we have the many board meetings we have. With that, because I know we're running short on time, if we could ask for a 5-minute presentation at the most from each of the working groups that have been either gathering or gathering together. Maybe we have identified individuals in 3 of our working groups that have volunteered to assist us in sharing with the other members of the board the work that is being done. And the first one on the agenda is the Legislative and Judicial Affairs. And our director, Charles Klug, volunteered to take notes and to present. And Mr. Klug, you are recognized.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So our meeting, our group met on October 14th. We have 10 attendees. Some of the matters we've already talked about so far in this meeting. We also talked about some bills that may be filed in the legislature we need to keep track of. We'll probably talk about that more at our next meeting, which is November 9th, by the way, at 2:30. One of the main things we talked about was the draft survey on human trafficking services on our community for survivors. We talked about some of the wording of the language. We had some really good comments, for instance, using the term survivors of human trafficking versus trafficking survivors. Giving examples of human trafficking, such as labor trafficking, domestic servitude, and sex trafficking, things like that. So help clarify that. Our members of the group submitted their comments to Randall on October 22nd, and he's incorporated that into the final survey. So that's pretty much it for us, and I'd like to talk more in the next meeting about maybe some legislative matters. Thank you.
Okay, and that meeting for this working group is November 9th at 2:30 p.m.?
That's correct, right?
Excellent.
By Zoom.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that information. Are there any questions from the other members? Seeing no hands raised, we'll move on to the next working group report, but given by Connie Rose. That's the Education and Awareness Working Group.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope that you can hear me okay because I'm literally in the middle of a police training on 1,500 acres in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, training nuns to take over safe houses or to work in safe
Okay,
houses.
get a little closer, Connie. We just barely can hear you.
All right, is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I know there's an echo in my room, so I do apologize for the sound. So I'm going to speak to you about the Education and Awareness Committee. And Charles, thank you so much for sharing with everyone about the survivor survey and that the Survivor Advocacy Committee did have input into what the languaging was. And then thank you for actually incorporating the languaging into it. We're all extremely appreciative for that. So in our last meeting, you know, we always want to talk about what priorities are for our education and awareness group. And so we want to really go out and create a broader survey. So that is part of why the survey that Charles shared with you, that is why we came up with that survey, is because we want to gather information from survivors as well as service providers so that we do know what services, what are the gaps. And we had a very robust presentation today, right, about what are some of the gaps and how we are filling them. Because we are the Education and Awareness Committee, education is always on top of line for us. So most of you know that we have what is called Hillsborough Heroes. It is an online human trafficking training program, absolutely phenomenal. And we can ask if maybe we could put some information in the chat. I don't have it at hand on how you can sign up for that. But it's an incredible training, and what we're doing with this is it's also helping us to provide some metrics. Now, we've talked about how do we create awareness and a greater broad expansion of our awareness. And of course, social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, but also county media. So, you know, there are different county shows that we could expand on, PSAs on TV, you know, the city media. More importantly is what can we do in Hillsborough County to create a call of action? And in that call of action, how do we bring everyone together in one united voice? And it's basically about our campaign that we did for Super Bowl, which is Don't Buy It, Tampa Bay. And to conclude, our next meeting is on November the 4th at 3 p.m. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much for that. Looks like we're
You're
getting
welcome.
some good work done. Apparently, we did not have anyone volunteer on the Communications and Media Committee to actually be the lead or take the lead in that particular position. But do we have anyone from that committee that would like to share with us what may or may not have happened at the last meeting? Randall, would you like to fill that in for us? Excellent. Thank you. You're recognized.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would love to update everyone on the meeting, but we did not have it. I have had some difficulty reaching a few of the members. I will be more aggressively contacting the participants for the working group in the past, and in those meetings, the future meetings, which will be held next month, we will be deciding a chair for the commission, the Communications and Media Working Group, so that this will not happen again. There will be somebody who will be reporting for the continuation of the meetings. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we'll be sending out Teams meetings for those meetings that are scheduled, and once one is identified for that one, we'll move forward with that and get the Communications and Media working forward. I did run into recently a representative from FKQ at a Visit Tampa Bay meeting, and they are looking forward to coming back and talking about the impact of that particular effort, as it was with the Super Bowl and the campaign in the partnership with our transit agency, because that's where a lot of the advertisement was for a long time. And so they're looking forward to coming back to us and sharing with us not only what that impact was, but what they would recommend going forward as far as the communication strategy. The next item, our next working group is Services and Resources. Jillian Penhale is our presenter and lead. Is Jillian available? And I actually don't see her on the list. I don't see her here. Let's see. I don't see her online either. Randall, you want to help us out with that one too?
Yes, I do attend all these meetings. I will say that for the services and resources, we did go over a lot of the exact same things as both the education, awareness, and legislative and judicial working groups went over in terms of expanding the surveys to encompass more participants in Hillsborough County. The point of the survey, for those who are participants in the working groups, is in order for us to get a comprehensive idea of what the Hillsborough County residents know about human trafficking. And not only that, to know what services know about human trafficking. Of course, services should know a lot. And also about what any type of businesses that want to cater to survivors also know about human trafficking. We want to get a large database and pinpoint where we should be targeting our marketing. That is the whole point of the survey, and we are well on our way in a lot of the working groups of developing a really good surveys and really, I would say, the goal for the services and resources was to make the survey long enough to get a grasp of what each participant knows, but short enough to where they are not discouraged from taking the surveys. That was a big point to make in that working group. So just keep that in mind for the rest of the working groups for next month.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. I don't see any other hands raised. Are there any questions by the members? Seeing none. The next item is our space that we leave for public comment. Did we have any individuals sign up for public comment today? We set aside about 15 minutes for that. But seeing as that we did not have anyone sign up for public comment, and if there are no other questions, are there any new business items that any of the members would like to offer for future agenda issues? All right, seeing none, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you all very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.